In this lesson, we're going to take a look at adding imports and organizing imports. Now we'll note that these are available in the source menu, and we can select them very easily using the keyboard shortcuts Control plus Shift plus M or Control plus Shift plus O. Of course, on the Macintosh that would be Command plus Shift plus M or Command plus Shift plus O. So let's go ahead and take a look at how we can quickly and easily work with our import statements. Now, adding imports is of course very easy and can be done in multiple ways. So let's go to Password Data Editor and let's remove all of our import statements from our code. Once we do that, we'll note that everything that requires an import now has a red squiggly line underneath it, and basically if we hover over it, it will tell us that it cannot be resolved to a type. Now one way we can quickly fix this is when we're hovering over it to just select Import J Internal Frame or whatever the missing import is that you're hovering over. Once we do that, we'll note that it's added to the top here, and we no longer see the red squiggly line. So of course, if we have the area selected that has the issue and we hit Control 1, that will bring up our quick fix menu to import the password collection here in this case. So we could do that the same as if we were just hovering over it and selecting the import password collection. The other thing we could see is if we have that, we could go to our source menu and select Add Import. Once we do that, it will add the import up at top, and we'll no longer see the error underneath password collection. The other way we could add that is to quickly select the item that we need to have an import and hit Control, Shift, and M. We'll see that JText field was added at the top, and we no longer see the error underneath JText field, indicating that the import is missing. So I want to point out that we've seen how to add imports very easily using Control, Shift, M, or by hovering over them. The next thing I want to look at is organizing the imports, Control, Shift, O. Now in this case, we have a couple other things that are still showing. Let's go ahead and delete our imports from the top here again so that everything is missing its imports. Once again, all the red squiggly lines return, and let's simply hit Control Shift O. Now once we do this, we'll see that all of our imports have been brought in, and we no longer see the red squiggly lines. However, we still have one error in our code here because we're missing this import for program. So we have to add that as well. So it brought in program, but it didn't bring in program star, which is what we had before. So we can change that here. And once we do that, of course, our import now will work for program. Or we could have been more specific, and we could have, again, had this program highlighted and just bring in that program as well. And that makes our code fixed. The other thing I want to note is about Control-Shift-O. When we organize our import, it will remove any unused imports. So if I say import java.util.hashmap, what we'll note is that as I save that, my hash map now shows up as being unused. So we could remove it by hovering over it. We could hover over it and select Organize Imports, or we could simply say Control-Shift-O. Now that will remove unused imports from our code, and our code will then not have those extra imports that we don't want. So that wraps up our look at adding and organizing imports.